Hello, Yogins. Welcome back. This is Yogi Doug Johnson back with another talk for you. Before I start, I want to thank my patrons on Patreon who make these talks possible, as well as anyone else who has donated via PayPal or Venmo to help support me in making these talks and making them available to the public for free of charge. So it really is a community effort. So if you're watching this for free, it's because of other viewers like you who have gone ahead and contributed to make this possible. All right, so today's talk is about the fact that nothing is really personal. And I know that this is be a tricky concept to grasp, but it's a spiritual concept. Again, on a mundane level, sure, things can seem very personal. It might feel like someone is attacking you personally. Someone might even say it's you, it's personal. But what I'd like you to explore is this idea that nothing is really personal. And this is, again, a spiritual concept. It's not really something for your logical mind. It's really for your spiritual heart to grasp. And usually we grasp these truths just when we hear them. We understand that there's a truth to that, even though we might not be able to logically explain why that's the case. So the first thing I need to cover or explain is the ego, just a brief idea about the ego. The ego is a false sense of self, a false sense of separation. The idea that you end at the end of your body, or that your body is you, that this little thing here is all I really need to concern myself with. The ego has a tendency to take possession of things that really don't belong to it. For instance, like this body, and to take credit for things that it doesn't deserve credit for, and also to take blame for things that really are not entirely for it or you to take blame for. So for instance, let's just say if you are beautiful, you have a beautiful appearance, people tell you you're beautiful, maybe even you get paid because you're so beautiful, like you're a model or something like that. If you think for a moment, why do you deserve credit for that? What did you do to be beautiful? Barring, plastic surgery or something like that, or maybe you can enhance your looks a little bit with makeup. But really, what did you do? And it's not just about beautiful. If you're smart, if you're intelligent, what did you do? Again, you can do things to enhance the gifts you've been given. You can go to school, you can study hard, but really, where did your smarts come from? If you get certain concepts or ideas, do you really deserve credit for that? What did you do to earn that? Same with talent. If you can play a musical instrument well or you can sing well, do you deserve credit for that? What did you do? Again, you can do things to enhance it, but what you find is many people, no matter how much they practice or make an effort, they open their mouth and what comes out is not something that most people want to hear. And the opposite is also true. There are people who have never practiced or sung a lick in their life, and then yet when they open their mouth and they begin singing, people immediately begin wanting to hear more. What did they do to earn that? Nothing. And yet, most of us, our egos will have this concept of, oh, I'm so talented. I have a beautiful voice. I'm pretty. I'm smart. Now, if you look at those things, these statements are not eternal, and that's really what spiritual teaching is about. So let's say I'm beautiful, and then I get in a car wreck, and it maims my face. I'm no longer beautiful anymore. Or, let's take the obvious. We all age. So sometimes we see people, right, they used to be very beautiful. And you can see them still trying to relate with the world and maybe the opposite sex as though they were beautiful. And it's kind of a sad thing, isn't it, when you see someone trying to relate, they're trying to use their sexuality or their good looks, and it's no longer there. And it's just kind of a sad and sorry thing. You can tell their ego still thinks that they are in possession of this certain quality, and they're really not. The truth is, it never belonged to the ego. It was a gift. It was temporary, and like everything in this life, it comes and it goes. So it's not to say we can't enjoy the gifts that we've been given, and it's not to say we can't work with and enhance the gifts that we're given, but we don't deserve credit for them. Again, even the use of my body, my 5 fingers, there are people who one day wake up and they stop having control of their body. Okay, so is that something you really have? Is that really something you earned? Or is that a gift? It is a gift. Everything is a gift. And to try and claim that you somehow deserve this or you earn this is a very, very tenuous perspective from a spiritual viewpoint. In reality, everything is a team effort. You have your body because your mother and your father or your parents or whoever it is who raised you, if it was your grandparents or your siblings or whatever, they gave your body sustenance, they gave you love, they gave you shelter. They may have not done this perfectly. Maybe you wish they had done a better job. Most of us do. But the fact is, if you did not receive these things, then you likely have problems. You have maybe health problems, and perhaps you do. But you would have had more had the situation been even worse. And there are people who are in those circumstances. Okay? So again, if we have a relatively healthy body, it's functioning, we might feel like I'm healthy, but you don't deserve credit for that health. Again, even if, let's say, I take care of myself, I go to Whole Foods, I spend twice as much money on my groceries so that I can buy organic and I can eat farm-raised foods from local farms. Well, again, the farmer did her job. The trucker did her job to drive that to you. The grocer stocked the shelves. The government printed the money and came up with the agreements whereby you can walk into the store and exchange paper or a plastic card to get these groceries. This is miracle after miracle after miracle. You, on top of all these miracles, walk in the store, put down your credit card, purchase the groceries, and then you say, well, I take care of myself. That's why I'm healthy. But again, it's this huge conspiracy that is happening. The whole universe is conspiring. Gravity is helping you take care of your body. The air that we breathe, the trees are helping you take care of yourself. There's so much that goes into it. You don't deserve credit. You take part in this wonderful symphony, in this orchestra, but you don't deserve credit. You don't deserve the credit. It's a team effort. Okay? The ego doesn't deserve the credit. It also doesn't deserve the blame. So, this is important because when people come to you and they want to praise you, very often that causes the ego to get inflated, right? Oh, you're beautiful. Then we think, oh, I'm beautiful. We think that means something, okay? And again, beauty very often is in the eye of the beholder. One person might think we're beautiful, another person might not. But oftentimes we take that to mean something important, or you're smart, or you're talented, or in this community, you're spiritual. Right? Oh, you're so spiritual, or you're so wise, something like that. Again, our ego loves it. It loves to say, well, this piece of meat is wise, or this piece of meat is beautiful, or this piece of meat is talented, or it's smart, or whatever. This is a mistake. By the same token, some people will try and blame you for how they feel, blame you for ruining their lives, blame you for whatever it is. Maybe you're a parent. And oftentimes when we look at our parents, we look at them and we end up judging what they did. This is a huge mistake again. As I've given it in another talk, everyone really is doing the best they can, and that includes our parents. And it may look to us, standing from the outside, like our parents should have done more for us, or that they did something wrong. They were doing the best that they could. Given their family karma, their ethnic karma, the planetary karma, their national karma, all of that being burdened on them, they were doing the best that they could. And again, from our perspective, that may not look very good. We might be tempted to say, hey, they didn't do such a good job, but they were doing the best that they can. Now, by the same token, if we're parents, we might find at some point that our children come back and have harsh judgments of the way that we raise them. It doesn't matter what you've done. You did the best that you could. And you might find that if you raised them all natural, they don't like that. They wish that they were raised in a conventional way. You might find that if you raise them conventionally, they wish that they were raised all naturally. It really doesn't matter. Very often, I think this is a tendency of people to want to blame their parents for what they feel are their shortcomings and trouble in life. And spiritually speaking, this doesn't get us anywhere. Even if we get an apology from our parents, even if our parents say, yeah, I totally messed up, that doesn't help us. So what we want to do is work on our own triggers, our own samskaras. They're called samskaras in yoga. And these are our sort of reactive patterns, vasanas and samskaras. Okay? So we might find, again, at some point, our children come back and try and blame us for all their problems. And again, we may have, doing the best that we could, we may have contributed to issues that they have, yes. That there's truth in that we may have taken part. But again, it took a whole symphony to create the problem they had. It created certain genetic propensity, certain psychological propensity, karma, genes, if I haven't already mentioned that, and then our situation that we found ourselves in as parents. So we were under certain pressures at the time. And these are things that, again, children may not have seen. There might have been political pressure. There might have been social pressure. Our world is full of these winds, these social and political winds that blow through. And oftentimes children aren't aware of these. They're not aware of the larger landscape that's going on. And so they might not see the pressure that parents are under. Well, the good news is you're off the hook. You are not solely to blame for the condition that your children in. It took a lot of things coming together to result in the situation that your children are in. And this isn't a get out of jail free card. Again, we take part, and so we always want to be looking at the part that we play in the bigger picture. And we always want to be open to correcting our part, bettering our part, doing a better job. So very often when people come to us with criticism, we can look at it and say, yeah, I see the truth in that. I see the truth in what you're saying. I can see your perspective. I see why you feel the way that you do. Again, we don't really want this to result in just a sense of guilt, because that doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't really do us any good, just feeling guilty about some situation. In fact, guilt just robs of our energy. So rather we want to see, okay, there's truth in that, and then going forward, we may be able to adjust our approach. We may be the way that our actions, our words, whatever it is. So it's true that you, in a situation, you may be a trigger for someone else, for them getting upset. You may take a part in creating a problem for someone. You're not the sole source of that problem. And oftentimes life gives us challenges so that we can overcome them. It gives us challenges so that we can learn a lesson, or sometimes people are given challenges so that they can help teach others. And everything is working as it should. And again, part of that is us being willing to introspect and look at the role that we play in the bigger picture, and being willing to adjust and change the role that we play. But guilt isn't really helpful. So we aren't the sole cause of anyone's troubles, and we also don't deserve credit for pleasure. Again, if I give someone chocolate and they eat that chocolate and I say, oh my God, this is so great. What if they didn't like chocolate and I give that to somebody? Well, I can't take credit for that, right? They're going to be like, oh, this is gross. So I can't take credit for someone liking chocolate. They first have to like chocolate. Same if you're an artist, right? You play the drums or you play the guitar and you play something and someone says, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Well, they have to have something inside of them that can enjoy and appreciate that first. If they didn't have that, then you can play all day long and no one's going to appreciate it. And this is often a venue, even. If you aren't presenting your music in the right context, in the right venue, to the right audience, it isn't appreciated. And there's a great video of a world-famous violinist playing in the train station in New York City, and people are just walking by. Now, this is a musician playing a $100,000 instrument and who gets paid a lot of money to play the violin. But because they're playing in a train station, everyone is just walking by. People aren't tipping, people aren't listening. Okay, so again, context. If I don't have the right environment, then what I am presenting may fall on deaf ears. Can I take credit for the concert hall, for the ticket salespeople, for the person who created the violin, for my parents who paid for my lessons and fed me and clothed me and housed me while I did that? Again, it takes a village, it takes the whole universe in order for us to be in a position where we can help be a part of creating a very special experience for others, for someone else, bringing them or bringing forth their joy. So ultimately, if someone is upset with you or someone is very pleased with you, you don't deserve all the credit. You also don't deserve all the blame. And you don't want to take it personally either way. And this is what is really meant by don't take it personally. And this teaching can really save you a lot of heartache if you really take it to heart. That a lot of times you can see someone getting very, very upset. And if you just understand that it really isn't about you, and that they aren't maybe necessarily even seeing you. They're seeing their image of you, or you remind them of something that upset them. This can be very freeing, and it can allow you to not be so concerned with, again, the ego, with the sense of the self, how this self is being perceived. And it can allow you to begin to focus on the other. How can I help this individual who is clearly feeling threatened or who's clearly upset? Now, they might think they're upset with me, but if I really understand the teaching of teachers like the Buddha, then I understand that there really is no me, not in the way that people want to conceive of it. This idea of an individual, separate self who deserves praise or deserves blame just really doesn't exist. All right, everyone. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if it was, there are ways you can help me out by liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon on YouTube, sharing this with others, and of course, if you want to join the community and become a patron on Patreon, that helps me so much. If there are any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you, so please leave them. Don't be afraid to reach out and contact me. And if there's any way that you feel that I could help support you on your journey, please let me know. Let me know how I can be of assistance and service to you. Until next time, thank you so much. Namaste.